Hello Internet, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria, and today I'm going to be sharing some tips to smash that writer's block. So as many of you know, I personally am an aspiring author, and I have been doing tons of writing recently. Shameless self-promotion, my links are in the description. If you want to follow along my journey to, fingers crossed, publication, then check me out down below. I have Instagram, and then obviously you can find me here on YouTube, and also Twitter. It's not Inquillery, it's my full name, Victoria Carble, so check them out. So as often happens when you spend a lot of time writing, you get writer's block. When you're not writing, you never feel like you have writer's block because you're never writing. So anytime you actually sit down, you're like, yes, I have inspiration. But when you actually make a point to sit down and write regularly, I find suddenly writer's block is a huge problem. Whether it's just simply lacking motivation to do it or having no idea where the story should go or how it should progress, writer's block can be a huge issue. So for any of you out there that also struggle with this issue, I'm here today to share 5 tips that help me personally overcome writer's block. Tip number 1. Take a break. Now, this is only applicable if you're actually writing, okay? This is not for people, and I say this with love because I've been this person, who never ever write and then sit down for like 1 hour a month and suddenly are like, I don't know what to write. Like, I'm not talking to you, okay? You don't deserve a break. This tip is for those people who have been writing repeatedly for extended periods of time and have suddenly hit the wall. In this case, sometimes I think it can be helpful to take a break because writer's block is just simply exhaustion. So make a sandwich, go for a run, do what you gotta do, but like give your brain a moment to kind of chill out a bit. Chances are you're not really blocked at all, you're just exhausted. Tip number 2, listen to music. So you guys know I'm a musical person, I love music. Music is a huge part of my life, and with that comes a lot of writing inspiration, particularly if you find like soundtrack kind of stuff. A lot of times the lyrics tell a really cool story which can trigger something, or, and I mean trigger in a good way here, trigger your inspiration, or it can even just set atmosphere. So if you're trying to figure out like what descriptions to use, just having some like ominous music in the background can help you feel creeped out to put that on the paper, or like if you need something to be happy, you know, putting on some happy music. It can help you not only like generate inspiration for what should happen in your story, but it can also affect your mood as well. At least it does for me. So if I'm just feeling like kind of lazy and a bit meh about life, putting on a really peppy song can help me get into the mood for a peppy scene. Or if I have to write a really sad scene and I'm just like not prepared emotionally to go there, I can listen to some sad music. But also, if I don't know where the plot should go, putting on some cool soundtrack type music can really help me kind of get back in the world, especially because I write fantasy. But obviously you can do this for any genre, so find some kind of music that fits what you're writing. Tip number 3, read something you love. Now, this is sort of like taking a break, but a little bit different because you're still kind of in the book world. I do not mean read something you love so that you can go and copy ideas and basically write fan fiction, okay? I'm not talking about that. Write fan fiction if you want, but don't say it's your own world. What I mean is, remind yourself why you're writing in the first place. Sometimes writer's block can be just a kind of weariness and a sense of like self-doubt. Why am I even doing this? It's rubbish. What's the point? And so I always find going back and reading something that I really love reminds me of why I'm doing this in the first place. It reminds me of the impact that stories can have and why they're important in our lives. So reading something that you love can be a great source of inspiration in that sense. And again, not for plot ideas. Tip number 4. Talk it through. This one works best if you have a friend that knows your story, but they don't necessarily have to. You just need someone that's willing to listen. I have my friend Rhea. Bless you, Rhea. You are my hero. Anytime I'm stuck with anything, I will just like vomit out my questions at her, and sometimes she knows what's going on so she can offer actual suggestions, but a lot of the times she's honestly just asking me probing questions back that let me kind of think through what the problem really is. Because I find with writer's block a lot of the time, it's not so much that you have no idea, it's that you have too many ideas or you don't know which one is best, or even maybe what the heart of the real problem is. And so by trying to explain it to someone else, it can often help you to get to the root of what the issue really is with your story, and then you're able to plan accordingly and start writing again. If somebody already knows your story, that's really helpful, but they don't have to. They could just be someone that's willing to kind of ask you questions about what you're telling them until you sort of reach the conclusion yourself. Think of them as your fictional therapist. And lastly, tip number 5, sit down and brainstorm. This is probably not what you want to hear, but in my experience, a lot of the time writer's block is just simply not wanting to do the hard work. Writing a novel is hard work. It's not like you can just sit down and have this perfectly formed plot. Well, maybe you can. Maybe you're spectacular. In my experience, a perfectly laid out publishable plot is never just in your brain immediately, and it takes a lot of work to sit down and work through things. And so what we call writer's block in my experience is often just a laziness towards wanting to put in that hard work. I know for me, if I don't have it perfectly sorted out, I'm like, I'm not inspired to write today. I have writer's block. But no, what I really have is a reluctance to sweat in my brain, if that makes sense. Think of as your daily workout. Writing a novel is your perfectly sculpted human form who's basically an Olympic athlete. It takes work to get it there. You know, muscles don't just happen overnight. A story does not just happen overnight. Sometimes all it takes to fix writer's block is to just sit down with a piece of paper and a pen and write things out. And you might end up with like 5 different options, but that's okay, because through the brainstorming process you'll play with new ideas and you'll start to figure out where your story should go. I know for me, one of the most helpful things to do is to actually try to work out every single action or option the character could take in the situation, and then what the corresponding consequences would be, and then which one is closest or helps them get to where I want them to be in the end. That's the one I'll choose. I don't know if that made any sense at all, but basically work hard and stop being lazy. So that concludes this video. I hope you find these tips helpful. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below, and best of luck with your own writing. As always, thank you so much for watching, and again, shameless self-plug, check out my author Instagram below at Victoria_Carbel to follow me on my writing adventures. As always, I love you. Farewell. Bye!